Hello everyone, my name is Nave and welcome to my YouTube series, Who is Alex? And episode 3, The Evolution of Alex. In the previous episode, we looked at the story of Alex, his origins, and why he wasn't a successful main protagonist. Today we're going to do something a little more simple. We're talking about his movesets throughout the years. And since he was announced for Street Fighter VI, I want to do a wishlist for his moveset and maybe we can pull through the 7 games that he's been in. But Nave, you might be saying, he's only been in 6 playable games. Well, my loyal and beautiful subscriber, don't interrupt me. But you're right, he has only been in 6 officially produced games, but there's still one more we can talk about. For now, we're going to talk about his experiences in the Street Fighter III series, and small but important differences that actually makes him a full character. Before we start, here are the chapters for this video. Please skip to this timestamp if you want to skip my important announcements. You know, I won't get hurt. I mean, I only passed 500 subscribers. You know, no biggie, no biggie. First of all, thank you to everyone watching and have been watching. Thank you for your kind words that you've been giving me on this series and for everything. I just love fighting games. I love making YouTube videos. So seeing so many people passionate about this character that I love fills me with passion. Because of your generous support, I've made it to 500 subscribers and I want to thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. My next video will be a 500 subscriber Q&A in a week from this upload, so please comment down below some questions you have for me. One more announcement before we start, my upload schedule is finally stabilizing to this. There will be at least one video per week, with the first and third video of the month being more highly produced fighting game videos like this, with the second and fourth week honestly being whatever video I wish to produce that particular week. As a sneak peek, I will be uploading videos like my YouTube hot takes, videos I wish to share with you, week 1, do not subscribe to me, and maybe some high concepts and experimental edit videos that may look like this. If that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned and subscribe. If that doesn't appeal to you, I recommend you leave. No, seriously. I encourage you to respect your time and move on from my channel if you do not wish to see videos like that on your feed. With that being said, let's begin with this video. So Alex's first appearance was obviously in New Generations, but we're going to be doing something a little weird. Instead of comparing the first game to the last, we are instead going to be comparing his Third Strike iteration to the rest. Since Third Strike can be seen as the definitive version, I think it would be interesting to see what exactly the developers change about Alex to make him a better character. So we'll start with New Gen. Looking at his normals, compared to Third Strike, his standing light punches are the same. Medium and heavy punches are all the same. Same thing goes for the kicks. His crouching buttons however change from New Gen to Third Strike. Unlike Third Strike, his crouching light punch and medium punch both share the same animations, with medium punch reaching a bit further, along with crouching light punch not being special move cancelable. His crouching heavy punches also change properties, with it no longer putting the opponent in a juggle state. Instead, they have an air reset animation. As far as close to normals go, standing light punch, and medium kick have different animations. His crouching light kick has not changed animations compared to his Third Strike, but he cannot do his target combo. His air buttons for the most part have not changed, with his lights and heavies staying, but his mediums having shared animations, with his jumping medium punch sharing the same animations as a light punch, and his medium kick sharing the same animations with heavy kick. As far as command normals go, he does not have his classic iconic generation changing Alex chop and his sit grab. He doesn't however have his lariat. Instead, he keeps on doing his standing heavy punch. His dive has also changed. Instead of enacting a juggle state, it knocks down, so no cool air resets. This might be a best time to mention this. Unlike modern fighting games, you can't use light punch and light kick to grab. Instead, as a tradition with older Street Fighter games, you grab by getting close to your opponent and using forward medium punch or heavy punch to grab. This means you can't use point blank chop or lariat even if you had it in this game. Along with this, you can't whiff a grab since your opponent needs to be on the ground in order for the grab to actually come out, so instead you whiff your buttons. Alex has a card throw in Third Strike, which uses his lariat move. This is extremely important for his Third Strike meta, and if you want to learn more about this important technique, go ahead and watch Powerbombs video, Street Fighter III Third Strike Immortal technique, card throw, for a full tutorial. The important thing to know is that it essentially increases your throw range, and many high level Alexes like Genki uses a lot to catch people off guard to maintain their momentum. With the absence of card throw, I can imagine this greatly hinders Alex's ability to perform and maintain momentum. Hence why he's low tier in New Generations. We'll get more into card throws later, but for now, let's take a look at his specials.
Hello, Poseidon Yahweh here. I actually lied. I fibbed. I pranked you without you even knowing. You can actually Kara throw in the game, and it might even be better than Third Strike. Using Light Kick, you can cancel the animation to any of his special moves. This is best with Powerbomb since it greatly increases their ranges. With this, you can use Kara Powerbomb after a chop to create a Street Fighter V strike throw mix-up. For information on Kara throws and Karas in general, please skip to the Kara throw segment in the video. His light, medium, and heavy chop hasn't changed their appearance all that much. The biggest difference is that you can't use EX in this game, which greatly hinders Alex's abilities and knockdown potential. And because he doesn't have his elbow slashes or DDT, my beloved, there's not much to say about them here, but I really do think that elbow slashes feel like a move Alex always needed. You know what I mean? His stomps haven't really changed all that much, and the same goes for his knee drops. The biggest difference are the ranges that the move travels, partly because they don't have the EX versions, but I also think they change later in the series. This also may not be true, but it also might be due to how close the camera is relative to how it is in Third Strike. The second to last set of moves we'll look at is Powerbombs. Once again, nothing has really changed in terms of damage or stun, but one thing that's changed is the distance you travel after the move lands. Compared to Third Strike, New Gen version puts you a little further than Third Strike, and for New Gen, the light and medium are almost the same distance. In contrast, Heavy Powerbomb leaves you at 3/3 screen, meanwhile Third Strike puts you at the full screen. I think about how this change from New Gen to Third Strike kills Alex's ability to put the pressure on his opponent. Because you're so far away, it's hard to maintain pressure. Make sure you can slash to get closer to Third Strike, but one, you're minus when you're finally there, and if they wake up, that's a free easy parry or punish. I wish they kept you closer after landing Heavy Bomb Third Strike, just like how they did in New Gen. One last thing we need to look at before we move on to second impact are the supers, which all of them are the same throughout this series. With the key difference is how often you can use them. Not because of the mirror requirements have changed, but because of the lack of EX moves, which we will talk about in the next section after these closing thoughts. It's really interesting that they almost made Alex into a complete character. A lot of his moveset doesn't really change that much going forward, and I think it's really speaks to the dedication the developers had to Alex, and the archetype that he was trying to be. There will be more thoughts about him later, but let's move on to second impact. Hello, editing Nyave here. So in the Alex Discord, members Spruce Fox and Mitch Nico directed me to a YouTube channel called riiya, where they uploaded a video called Street Fighter 3 New Generation in Imp Luck. It's a really good video, and I really don't want to take any words from them, so I'll just say go watch them, and I will briefly talk about Alex. Also shout out to riiya for allowing me to use their videos. Go check them out, and also go check out the POM mods that they did. It replaces a lot of the Third Strike stage colors and some of the characters. My personal favorites are the Ibuki and Yun stage. A good observation I didn't notice while writing and editing is that Alex does more damage in New Gen than in Third Strike. It takes Alex 8 standing heavy kicks to kill Ryu, and in New Gen 6 hits. HyperBomb also doesn't have a backward version anymore. Super 2 is post-flash unblockable, and if you time it right, you can get jumping heavy punch into medium chop. You can do Powerbomb after this, and with SFIII you can almost do a TOD against Ryu. And since Elena has a longer block style animation, you can continuously do medium chop. This gives Alex an infinite against Elena. If you want to go check out this infinite, please go watch riiya's videos.
Moving on to second impact, there have been a few big changes, not to Alex, but the system at large. Firstly, the developers have added EX moves. If you have enough meter indicated by your flashing bar, and using 2 buttons or kicks associated with the move, you can do more damaging and in most cases an advantageous move. For Alex, this really helps him with his knockdown and damage, since before the only move that comboed was his light slash, which didn't even knock down, and the moves that did were either easy to parry, required a specific setup, or even if they did land, it reset neutral. So the introduction of EX moves and other moves really helped Alex a lot. So let's talk about the new moves and other system changes. We can start with his normals. Nothing changed. Okay, moving on to what's important and greater implications. The special moves. So Chop can finally knock down. Using the EX version of the move has great damage in Oki. Because the hitbox is pretty big, it was and still is a pretty good reversal with his medium punch. Moving on to the new move is his elbow, which kinda sucks. All 3 strengths have the same property as Third Strike, but its EX version doesn't knock down. So it doesn't really help with this Oki, but it really helps with the super confirm and damage, since the second hit is super move cancelable.
As far as the other moves go, the base moves haven't changed that much since New Gen the second Impact. So we can move on to his EX moves. Alex's stomp finally goes full screen with EX, and his knee can finally hit grounded opponents. In my opinion, this drastically changes Alex's playstyle. Before, it was safe to assume that Super 2 was the preferred super, but now it's 100% solidified that Super 2 is the most optimal due to his short meter, which allows Alex to use his super moves, but also since he can stack 2 of them, he has more access to damage and Oki with his EX moves. Hello, post-editing Nabe here again. So doing some more research, here's another riiya video talking about the changes to second Impact that I missed. You can link Light Chop into SA2. You can still Kara his specials and his Powerbombs. Speaking of which, they changed slightly. They unfortunately no longer lock down. An anti-air elbow can hell a corner carry. Check this out. There's not much to talk about when it comes to second Impact. I think arguably the most interesting thing about second Impact is his movements. A lot of new moves and characters have a lot of focus on adding a variety of speeds when it comes to how they move around the speed, and what their moves can do. Alex is no exception. The addition of his elbow allows him to close the distance between him and his opponent, which I think he struggles with the most in New Gen. But also, Alex's EX stomp allows him to punish fireball characters and close the gap. So overall, I believe things are looking up for Alex. Now we're going to be talking about Third Strike, and the next section is actually going to be very technical, so please stay with me.
Strike y'all in Street Fighter 3.
With Third Strike being the final game in the Street Fighter 3 series, a lot of changes were introduced to the game. For starters, new characters were released like Remy, Chun-Li, and Q. New moves were added to the older cast, and balance changes were made to the majority of the cast, with Alex getting some major changes and buffs. Let's start with the smaller changes. Alex got a few changes to normals. Firstly, he doesn't have shared normals like the previous game. Instead, each button has their own animation and frame data. His crouch and light punch has him doing a fist instead of sharing the same animation as his medium punch. There's also one more thing that drastically changes, which we'll go into in a minute. His crouching medium kick is no longer a second crouching heavy kick, and it now shares a similar animation to a light kick, but with more range. Along with this, he now has 2 target combos, crouching light kick into medium kick, and crouching light kick into heavy kick, with both of them being a one frame link, being hella hard to combo into each other. I'm not gonna lie, they're both almost useless since they're really hard to link, can't do great damage, and for the second target combo, even if you hit your opponent with your crouching light kick, they can theoretically parry your on-hit combo and punish you. Moving on to his air normals, his mediums got changed as well, and they're actually pretty good. Medium punch hits both in the front and the back, comes out fast, and it's hard to parry if you're not looking out for it. There's also a really cool strategy to do, where if you jump in on your opponent and throw an early jump medium punch, you can purposely whip it, but because the animation looks like it's going to hit your opponent, but it whiffs, you can land and either do a free throw or powerbomb. Since your opponent is expecting the parry to jump in, this can heavily throw them off. Because of proximity block, medium punch also locks the opponent in place, so essentially makes them have to block, anti or parry, or eat your pressure. One last thing about the zone roll that is really good to use when you're trying to get away from your opponent. Pro Alex player Genki uses it pretty often. Another change happens to Alex's jump medium kick. Before it shared the same property as heavy kick, but now is an extremely long range attack, which is really good for approaching. Most of Alex's air normals are either stubby or come out too slow, like his jumping heavy kick. So this is a really nice addition to his mix-up game. Properties to some of his normals have also changed. We can take a gander at his crouching heavy punch. Before, it only air reset on hit, but now it puts the opponent into a juggle state. In most cases, when the second hit lands, you can't really combo off of it, but if you trade, you can actually use some really sick combos. Another move that puts your opponent into a juggle state is Alex's dive. When it hits the opponent in the air, it sends him flying, and when you're in your corner, if you time it right, you can do something like this. Personally, I like to go straight into medium punch after the dive. Since medium punch air resets, I can mix the opponent with an overhead, back heavy punch, or anything else I choose. One last thing we can talk about before going into special moves is his lariat. Oh Larry, my beloved. This is his new command normal added to Third Strike. It's a fast and hard-hitting move that works really well as an anti-air and combo tool in his sudden combos. It can also be used to card cancel, which we'll talk about after his special moves. Overall, it's a really good move, and paired with this chop, an amazing anti-air. The only problem with it is that it's really easy to react to in order to parry, and it doesn't hit most grounded characters. Now going on to his special moves, not much has changed for his chops, but his stomps and knees have gotten some range and hype ups, which is nice. It sucks that they're only one parry. His elbow has changed a little, it now knocks down. In my opinion, this dramatically helps Alex in neutral. Not only is the move extremely fast, so it can hit and punch some supers like Dudley's Super 3, but also knocks down, which allows Alex to mix up his opponent. It is still 2 parries, which is easy to red parry if you get used to the timing, but if you use it sparingly, you can definitely catch a lot of people off guard. In third strike, Alex has gotten a special move in the form of his DDT. DDT, my beloved. It's a bad move. Doing half circle back and kick will send Alex flying towards opponents and command grab them if they are standing. I personally love this move because it punishes people who are trying to parry their way through games with opposite selects. However, this move is pretty bad, it's slow, reactable, doesn't do great damage or oki, and in some cases you can get punished even on hit. So while it's a good move to humble your opponents or even get into their heads, I don't recommend using it a lot, unless you're me. One last note before we talk about the biggest changes to Alex and Third Strike as a whole, DDT doesn't come with an EX variant. One of Third Strike's biggest changes was actually the implication of what we know as a Kara throw and Kara cancel. Now it's time to get into what Kara is. Well, firstly, Kara means empty in Japanese, so we're doing a metaphorical empty throw. We're doing a Kara throw. But how does it work? A Kara throw involves canceling the beginning frames of a specific move by pressing the throw button on a specific frame. For example, we can cancel the beginning animation of Alex's lariat with throw by pressing the throw button on the first frame of the lariat's animation. This completely stops the lariat from coming out, and instead we get a throw with greater reach. In a way, you're emptying the lariat and replacing it with throw. Now, why do we do this? Well, this drastically increases the range of Alex's grab, which allows him to completely blindside his opponents. A good indicator of the distance you travel by doing this is by looking at Alex's shadow. Because the lariat moves drastically forward on the first frame and we're counting the move coming out with our grab, we can see that we're moving by pixels, which is just outside of grab range and often catches your opponent off guard. Once again, if you want to watch a good video to watch about this technique, go check out HyperBomb's Kara throw video. This doesn't only happen with lariat. You can use crouching light punch to Kara throw into his medium power bomb. This technique is known as the Kazuya bomb, being discovered and often used by the legendary Kazuya. A good tutorial on this technique comes from Tony Faggotoni's Powerbomb, Part 1, Kara Powerbomb. But why does this happen? I looked around a lot on the internet, but I can't really find a definitive answer. But my theory is that the game uses a priority system that cancels the beginning frames of an animation with the correct one. I'm theorizing that Alex's throw has a greater proximity over his lariat. I also theorize that this has to do with the first frames of animation, so characters like Chun-Li, Q, and Makoto really benefit from this since they all have moves that move them forward drastically within the first frames. During my research trying to find out the programming behind Kara throws, I found a team of programmers who are decompiling Third Strike right now, and I messaged the head of the team, APS Taigo, about the programming behind Kara throw. As of the time of writing, the team hasn't decompiled the character code yet, so they aren't able to explain why the Kara exists. But I still wanted to give the team a shout out because I believe decompiling and understanding how games work is an important act of art preservation. If you want to learn more about what APS Taigo has to say, for the time being I still like to give you a shout out in my next video because I think more eyes on the project is super important. Would you like to say anything specific for the people watching? That would be awesome. I think the best thing you could do is point people to the GitHub page. That way some people may help. Or just look at the code base and leave a star. You can also leave a link to the PS2 DECOMP server. Any and all links that I talk about or mention are going to be down in the description below. Thank you to the PS2 DECOMP team for answering me and answering my questions. Good luck out there, and I hope more people can help. Now it's time for my closing thoughts on Street Fighter III's Alex. For a character whose archetype has no real prior history, I think Alex wasn't the worst newcomer to Street Fighter series. But his beginnings were pretty rough. We saw that in New-Gen, Alex is really struggling to get things as simple as knockdowns and reliable damage. This didn't really change until the last iteration of the series, which I would call him the definitive Alex. And even at that, he still struggled. This, however, doesn't make him not a fun character, or even a bad one. We see with players like Genki that despite Alex's shortcoming in Third Strike, he's still a powerhouse. Alex's unorthodox playstyle, combined with his massive damage to stuns, allows him to sneak in some wins every once in a while. However, I can't help but think that Alex is not a complete character yet. He still can't do a basic combo that knocks down. His mix-up game isn't the best, and I think he's missing a lot of things that elevate him to being good. But hopefully that changes in the future. So let's switch gears and look at other games that he has appeared in. With our next game, Capcom Fighting Evolution.
Capcom Fighting Evolution.
Capcom Fighting Evolution was released on October 24, 2004 for the PS2 and original Xbox. To a resounding meh. This game was, and maybe still loved. I personally don't have a lot of history, and me finding footage is actually the first time I'm seeing Alex's moves. And the game, to be honest. Unfortunately, finding a copy for the game that I can play has been extremely difficult, so I'll be resorting to looking at other people's footage. Sorry about that. On the bright side, a lot of Alex's move has stayed the same, since Fighting Evolution basically copy and pasted characters' movesets from the previous games to here. Because of that, I'll just be talking about some significant changes, since the majority of Alex's moves are copied straight from Third Strike. The first change is Alex's knee. You no longer need to do an EX version to hit grounded opponents, which is a really nice change. Knee is supposed to be an anti-air like Shoryuken, but now that it functions like one in combos, it's really nice. It looks like you can use the EX drop to combo into all of its supers. This might make Alex a pretty good character since you can choose which super is best for different scenarios. Another change is actually how Alex's supers interact with the system mechanics. Looking at Fighting Evolution, it looks like you can hold up to 2 bars a meter. It also looks like you can use multiple supers in one match. I think this drastically improved Alex since he can choose which super he wants to use. And they all connect. Kinda crazy that I'm getting excited for these supers actually comboing, but this makes Alex's damage like really dangerous. There's not much else to say about this game. I could talk about how the game doesn't have stun meter, so some of Alex's moves don't really serve a purpose, but also like, who cares? No one really plays this game.
Yo, no watch this stuff with this love. You may feel like you can't go on. If we try side by side, we'll survive, never die. Now you feeling my flow, know what I mean? No doubt that you feel it like I do. Don't let a chance like this pass by you. I'll combo like you and me is meant to be. Fly across the board. Perfect combo, you and me, you see? Come on. Let's fly across the board. Perfect combo, you and me, baby. Come on. Let's fly across the board. If we try side by side, we'll survive, never die. Fly across the board.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Taking a gander in the next game, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom released on December 11, 2008. With a pretty dedicated cult following, this game is definitely one that people should get into. With a somewhat similar situation to SFIII, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom took some of the past animations of the characters and put them into this game, but gave many of them some unique properties. Before we get into anything else, I want to give a big shout out to my favorite video game shop, Ratnest, in Chino, California. If you live in or near the Los Angeles area, I highly recommend checking out Ratnest. They have the coolest gaming merch, arcade cabinets, and staff. Shout out to Robbie and Gio, they two are the coolest. But I'm giving them a shout out because they had an arcade cabinet with like 1,000,001 games in there, and they happen to have Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. And that's how I was able to get footage. So please go check them out in person. Their address is 12345 Mountain Avenue, Chino, California, or online at Ratnest everywhere. Going back to the video, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom is a 2v2 6-button game with a light, medium, heavy button scheme with an assist, light, medium, heavy macro, and taunt button. We can start with Alex's standing buttons. For his standing and light, he uses Third Strike medium punch. For his medium button, he uses his chop move. And for his heavy button, he uses standing heavy punch from Third Strike. For his crouching light, he does a crouching light punch from 3S. For his crouching medium, he uses crouching medium punch. For his crouching heavy, he does his crouching heavy kick from 3S. He also keeps his lariat before heavy. Unfortunately, my second wife, back heavy punch, isn't in the game, so I can't get people smooches the regular way. But his forward throw done with holding forward and heavy does a kiss animation, and the back heavy does a 3S back throw animation. Two things I should mention right now is that the game is similar to Marvel vs. Capcom, where it has moves at launch and most numbers are special move cancelable. These games also typically have Gatling combos from light, medium, heavy into a launcher, and Gatling air combos. This game is no exception, with light, medium, and heavy comboing into each other, and 3H being Alex's launcher, which is his crouching heavy punch from 3S. For his air moves, jumping light is his jumping light kick from third strike. His jumping medium is his jumping heavy punch. His jumping heavy is actually his dive, which is kind of interesting. When it lands on a standing opponent, it causes a dizzy effect no matter where it lands on the combo. So I'm guessing it's a really good tool to punish projectiles or awkward situations. It can also be done as an instant overhead, kind of like 3S, but better, since it causes a dizzy state, and you can combo off of it. Moving on to his special moves, he has kept them all from third strike, except DDT. But they have some property changes. Let's start from his chops. They can all combo now. As his normals are all special move cancelable, his chops can combo, and his elbows as well. Medium chop can also combo into his stun gun super. One thing that has changed is his heavy slash. We can all be comboed by using an assist. This move is able to be charged now, which, when fully charged, does a really cool animation that's similar to his throw in Street Fighter V, and is unblockable. As always, this move can fill one projectile. His light and medium elbows haven't really changed that much, besides medium knocking down. But his heavy was changed pretty drastically. Not only does it wall balance, which allows you to continue your combo, but what's really cool is, if you do a DP motion during the elbows, Alex has a drop kick, which if it lands, it switches your opponent's character, which is pretty fucking awesome. It's really refreshing for developers to take even more inspiration from the character's fight style, even if they didn't need to. Along with this, the elbows can combo into HyperBomb. Next move we'll look into is Powerbomb, which, minus the animation, is still your regular everyday. Wait a minute, what's that? Air Powerbomb! Move is perfect. Also, this retains a back turn version of this game. One of the funnier things about this move is it can, command throw the giant characters. Yeah, so really quickly, they're like giant characters in this game. They're like usually bottom tier, but they're here. And the last move that we will talk about is his knee. Because there are no parries in this game, it's a decent anti-air. And the last move we'll talk about is his stomps. Once again, since the game doesn't have any parries, I think it's safe to assume that this move won't be a bad move to throw out, especially if you have a good assist behind you. Not only that, but in this game, the developers also added an off-the-ground property on his stomps. So for a hard knockdown, you can definitely tag in some extra damage. And finally, the last thing we're going to be taking a look at are his supers. For Super 1, doing quarter circle forward and 2 attack buttons, you can do his SA2, which does pretty decent damage. Not only this, but it actually connects at the end, since the animation pushes you forward so much. It's easy to combo into and does reliable damage. The second super we'll talk about is his Super 2, which is his SA3. Motion is backwards DP and 2 buttons. That's actually not super hard to do, you can just do 2 quarter circle backs. Unlike the old SA3, you can actually combo into this with Alex's medium chop. This leaves your opponent stunned for a while, so you can set up any assist that you'd like, or maybe more optimally you want to go to his charge chop, or even his Super 1. But because of the game's logic, you can't do heavy slash into back turn, since the move essentially resets the combo. The distance you can move is dependent on which button combination you use. Light medium for short, best for combos. Light heavy for medium distance, medium heavy for long distance. And one more thing about this super, you can do this with giant characters. Alex's last super is his HyperBomb. Doing a full circle motion and 2 attacks releases Alex's most damaging move. This is a frame 1 through 15, which on some characters will just straight up deplete like half of their life. And the backwards version not only does more damage, but can travel the entire stage, which is really nice if you want to get your opponents in the corner. This move can also combo into his light elbow, which greatly increases Alex's burst damage. There's something I haven't mentioned yet, and it's the BBQ, or Baroque Cancel. This is done when you press an assist and attack button, which allows you to cancel your combo and reset it so you may continue your combo for damage and length. This also uses it for red health, so the more red health you use, the more damage you do. For someone like Alex who has a lot of health, this is actually pretty good to utilize. He already does a butt ton of damage, so sacrificing your already enormous health would really help a lot. I never really mentioned it before until now, but Alex is huge. Like really huge. In previous games, Alex can get into his own combos due to his large hitbox, which doesn't help his tier list placings. For games like Tatsunoko vs Capcom, I can only imagine Alex being fuzzied a lot. Fuzzies are basically when you're defending and your opponent does an instant jump attack. This can be seen in instant overheads in some games like Street Fighter IV, with many big body characters being able to get hit when crouching, and in games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, where some characters like Broly can be hit with a fuzzy, even when they're still in their low blocking animation. While I don't know if this happens in TVC, I can imagine that it comes up every once in a while. You know, overall, I really like what they did with Alex in this game. He seems like a way more mobile character. The game's use of air dashes and dashes really help him get around the screen. But also the addition of Gatling combos makes Alex feel like a real character that can combo. He may not have the most exciting air game, but as an Alex lover, his ground specials are so cool. His charge chop is a really cool mechanic that makes people choose whether to try to escape or potentially block an unblockable. And if it lands, you do a lot of damage and have great Oki. I don't really see a lot of grapplers back then have this mechanic, and I really want to see it come back. Elbow is maybe one of my favorite Alex moves. I love moves that push you forward while also attacking, And for someone like Alex, this really helps him get in and set us up in mix-ups. Since this game also adds the drop kick, that activated like some neurons that I didn't even know I have. And even though it only switches out the active character, the fact that developers went out of their way and added it means a lot to me as a player and a fan. It makes me feel like they cared about the character and who they are. I like to mention as well that there were fans of Alex on the team, and they also wanted him to actually function as a character, so they made him be able to combo into supers and combos in general. One thing I really like about CFE and TVC is the ability to use multiple supers in one game. For Alex, I feel like his supers, while very specific in their functions, complement each other very well. They all cover something that each one of them struggles with. SA1 is a visible command grab super that is really good for burst damage and wake up. SA2 is really good for damage and a combo, and SA3 is really good for catching people trying to escape your pressure or throwing fireballs. But I think that since Third Strike only allows you to choose between one of the 3 supers, SA2 is always a preferred super since you're allowed the most number of supers and EX bars. With CFE and TFCC, you're not only allowed the option to choose between the supers, but you also get multiple meters. This allows Alex to be more dangerous and a better character in my opinion. I think this might be my second favorite iteration of Alex, with my first being tied with Third Strike and the Secret Game, which we'll talk about later. For the time being, let's move on to my third favorite iteration, Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V was released on February 16, 2016 to a resounding The game was missing a lot of things like an arcade mode, characters, and netcode wasn't good. Overall, it was like the Street Fighter 3 new gen at the time, but almost immediately Capcom fixed the entire game by adding in Alex to the game. And nothing bad ever happened again. To some of you may be surprised to know that on release, Alex wasn't that bad. Compared to the rest of the cast, he had a pretty decent mix-up game. This is due to his combos actually working, his Oki being pretty decent, and the addition of the V-skill and V-trigger mechanic that is due to Street Fighter V. Now, enough context, let's actually get into it by looking at him from the beginning of the game to the end, looking at his buffs season by season. We can start by talking about Alex's buttons and their placements in this game. Light Punch is a 4-frame button that can be cancelled into any special, super, or V-trigger. Medium Punch is a 6-frame move that can cancel into those 3 options as well. Same for Heavy Punch, which is a 10-frame button that no longer is an overhead. Light Kick is a 5-frame button that can be cancelled in any special, super, or V-trigger. Medium Kick is an 8-frame button that can only be cancelled into his V-trigger. Same for his Heavy Kick. Start with 17 frames, but can crush counter and send airborne opponents flying. Crouching Light Punch is tied with the Standing Light Punch for the fastest normals he has, at 4 frames. Cancels into SSV. Crouching Medium Punch is a phenomenal button with 6 frames startup, great range, and can be trigger cancel. Crouching Heavy Punch is his classic shoulder tackle with 10 frames startup. It can juggle into things like his chop, knee, and V-trigger. More on that later. Crouching Light Kick is a 4-frame button that can only be trigger cancel. Same for his Crouching Medium Kick, 8-frame startup, and a Crouching Heavy Kick, 10-frame startup. Jumping Light Punch is a pretty decent air-to-air at 4 frames. It doesn't have a lot of range, but it's fast and it hits at a good angle. Jumping Medium Punch is go-to jumping. At 8 frames with a good angle, you can't go wrong approaching with this. Jumping Heavy Punch is classic heavy jumping with good damage and reach. Jumping Light Kick is a standard fast button at 4-frame startup. Jumping Medium Kick kinda got there from his past iteration. The range in frame data is pretty good at 6 frames and can be used to close in at some awkward ranges, but it's not as good as his Third Strike form. Jumping Heavy Kick is arguably better at closing the gap with more range than Medium Kick and only 3 frames slower with 9 frame startup. Going to his command normals, Chop is back but it's crazy slow at 22 frames. This is due to it now being an overhead. This makes it a pretty bad anti-air to react with. In Third Strike it was used as anti-air and a counter poke for people trying to sneak their way in, but in Street Fighter V you would want to use Alex's buttons like Medium Kick or Medium Punch. Riiya got hella buffed. First it hits mid, so it hits most of the cast when standing and someone crouching. It can V-trigger cancel, and I'll get to that in a minute. Riiya can also crush counter and leave the opponent open for a super damaging combo or a reset into command grab. And Dive Beloved is back, but it might be worse than before. You can only do it around the apex of your jump, and since they got rid of super jumps, people can react to it pretty consistently. You may catch people off guard, but most of the time it should be used sparingly. But when you do use it, moves like your Heavy Punch, knee, and even your slash and supers connect pretty consistently. So using this in an air-to-air is a pretty decent idea. When landing on the grounded opponent, it consistently combos into pretty decent damage. It also changes your jump arc, so every once in a while you can avoid a super projectile, so keep that in mind. For throw, there's not much to say here. Forward throw is reminiscent of the charge chop from TBC, and his back throw is now the backwards drop kick. I believe with forward throw after dash you're +1. Moving on to his specials, they've gotten some pretty good upgrades and meaningful changes. His chop is back. He's able to combo off his light punch with a light chop and medium with medium chop. His heavy chop once again turns the opponent around and soft cancels into Alex's backwards chop. His EX version knocks down is a pretty good tool for setting up his V skill. All of this can be super cancelled, which helps with his overall damage. Along with that, if you space these move correctly, you're safe on block. Elbow Slash has gotten a few buffs since the last game. Along with actually comboing, Light Slash leaves you +3, enabling some frame traps and pressure. Medium causes a soft knockdown, and hard causes a juggle state, enabling you to combo into a light chop. And EX has one hit of super armor. All three can be super move cancelled. If these moves hit opponents in the air, you can combo off of them as well. On block, these moves aren't super safe, but you can space them out so they are. Overall, I think these are great buffs for Alex's elbows. You're no longer stuck with the subpar move that only has 2 outcomes. You have options now in how you want to approach and combo. The next move we'll talk about is Alex's Powerbomb. Good old Powerbomb, nothing beats that. Just like the OG, each strength has different ranges, damage and reset distance. Same goes for his backwards command grab. In this game, they both have EX versions that are faster and does more damage, and slightly changes distance. As previously said, with heavy slash you're able to soft combo into Powerbomb, but with V-trigger you're able to combo into more damage. The next move we'll talk about is Alex's Stomp. Not much has changed about them aside from the relationship with the game system. Since you're not able to truly parry moves, the stomps become a pretty alright left-right mix-up. Not only that, but since they jump pretty high, they can jump over some projectiles, and some moves that make them a surprise approach option. The X version tracks opponents, and is pretty good when you're trying to counter projectiles. The last move we're going to talk about is Alex's Head Crush. Okay, this is my favorite move in Alex's toolbox. If you do the same input as Alex's Stomp, but use a punch instead, Alex will do a cool flip and grab his opponent when he reaches the ground. Changing the strength will allow you to change the distance traveled. The EX version will track your opponent. I personally love this move because it combines everything that I love about playing this character. You can use Stomp and elbows to condition your opponent to block your attacks, and if you space and time them right, they can't punish you. And once you have them conditioned, you can start using this move to hit them hard. Since you're +3 on hit, you can use your fast buttons and stuff mashing. But that discussion is for a different time. We can briefly talk about his critical art, Heavy Hammer. It's a pretty decent super with 5 frame startup. It's a good reversal and reaction tool with its long range. It combos out of most of his specials, but will sometimes whiff with his airborne combos. Overall, it's not like a bad super. I just don't have much to say about this, to be honest. Do not worry. I have a lot to say about our next topic. V-skill, V-reversal, and V-trigger. Then we can get into the mechanics of Street Fighter V, which is the V-system. The V-system refers to 3 actions you can take by using different button combinations. Medium punch and medium kick will activate your V skill, which every character has, but each one is different. For example, Ryu's V skill 1 is a parry, and Ken's V skill allows him to cancel his attack into a short run. When characters activate or land their V skills, they gain V meter. When this meter is full, you can activate your V trigger with heavy punch and heavy kick. Once again, everyone has a trigger, but not all of them act the same. For example, Nash can teleport beyond his opponents and use up all his V meter, or Chun-Li has added properties to her moves for a short while. But using your V skill isn't the primary way to build V meter. You can use crush counters to build it, as well as taking damage. It's similar to the Ultra meter in Street Fighter IV, in the sense that it is a comeback mechanic for every character. However, there are 2 caveats. 1, not all characters are built equal, and for some people, the better the V skill / V trigger, the more viable the character is. And 2, this is primarily an offensive system, with the only defensive way to use V meter is by using the third mechanic, which is V reversal. Depending on the character, you can use 3 punches or kicks in order to do an invincible reversal. If it lands, reversal knocks down your opponent and gives them great life, that they slowly gain back. However, this is at the cost of a lot of V meter. As a side note, I always thought this system was bad. Street Fighter V's defense mechanics always sucked, and the fact that you're being punished by using the defensive mechanics that the games give you, I personally think is just bad design. I don't really want to play Resource Fighters 5. Instead, I just want to play a game and get rewarded for playing correctly when playing defensively. But that's for a video for another time. Anyways, back to Alex's moveset. As of Season 1 of Street Fighter V, Alex has 1 V skill and 1 V trigger. V skill 1 is called Overhaul. With medium punch and medium kick, Alex has his taunt animation for the previous games, and all of his moves get a single counter hit property. This allows plus frames when landing moves and crush counter properties to moves that already have them. For example, heavy kick and lariat. This is a really cool mechanic for Alex and just in general. It pushes his already high damage potential to the roof and sets up for amazing combos. The downside to this V skill at the moment is that if you are hit, you lose the counter hit properties. Despite that, it pairs really well with Alex's V trigger 1. With heavy punch and heavy kick, and at the cost of 2 V meters, Alex can activate Rage Shift. In the trigger buttons, you are able to do a clothesline move called Sledgehammer.
When you use this move, Alex dashes forward, and as this move lands, you end up on the backside of your opponent at +5, enabling you to combo, command grab, or reset your opponent. You can also charge this move. Holding down the button, the move gains a parry property. With it, it will automatically parry any attack that comes its way, except for grabs. And when you fully charge Sledgehammer, your attack now guard breaks, and is plus, allowing you to land something like a Lariat into another Sledgehammer, maximizing damage. Activating the V-trigger pairs really well with some of his unsafe normals. Some of the best ones are his heavy kick, medium kick, and crouching medium punch. These moves are great counter pokes, and if they land, you can V-trigger and be an extremely plus on hit, which enables you to continue your combo. If you activate it on block, it also leaves you extremely plus and allows you to freely continue your pressure. His V-reversal is called Big Boot. He kicks his opponent with the really big boot. And for now, that's all I have for moves. But here are some small things to know about this version. During Season 1, universally, Light Punch was used as an anti-air, and Alex's was pretty good since it left you close to your opponent and you could strike throw mix him. Even though the V-skill animation is somewhat long, you can activate it after some knockdowns in order to make it safe. However, in most scenarios, you want plus to make it quote-unquote fair. Alex's reset game was actually pretty good. So notable situations are, after Sledgehammer, you can either combo for damage or reset for a strike throw mix-up. Alex's back heavy punch is gone in Season 1, but it will come back later. DDT is gone. But you know, despite the shortcomings, overall I think this is a great evolution of Alex. I always thought that since he's a grappler, the DNA of his combos are short, thus he struggles to confirm meaningful knockdowns. Not only that, but since he has a big body and a lot of health to compensate the damage that he'll take, this really helps him maintain a constant source of V-meter. And because he has long-reaching normals, being able to not only stop his opponent with big buttons but combo off his pokes with his V-trigger makes him viable in the way we've never really seen him before. And this is only in Season 1. There are at least 5 other seasons we're going to be looking at, starting now. But before we start this segment, I want to give a big shout out to one of my favorite YouTubers, Bafael, who graciously allowed me to borrow his At a Glance series, so that I may better show off the changes to Alex. And in fact, I got an email from Bafael saying that he'll graciously narrate this section for me. In my opinion, Bafael is one of the greatest YouTubers the fighting game community has, and I highly recommend that you check him out if you haven't yet. Thank you, Bafael, for letting me borrow your clips. Now let's get into Season 2, Alex. Oh, I think that's him right now. Hold up. Hello? Who are you? And we need to get... Look, Kobe! Alrighty, now that Dandon's out of the way, I can finally speak. Hey, what's up? My name is Rafael. I'm from the Bronx. I'm here to talk about my neighbor, Alex. Let's just jump right into it. So with Season 2 of Street Fighter V, for better or for worse, everyone's anti-air jab got nerfed. For Alex, this was a blow since his other anti-airs were either slow or sacrifice shots to get DP motion. On the bright side, Lariat is now +6, enabling a combo into his medium punch, drastically increasing his damage and corner carry. However, some numbskull at Capcom hates grapplers, so Alex can't use his Lariat after his stand strong V-trigger cancel. At least someone has brains over there and made his heavy kick +1 and does 10 more damage. This person also allowed his crouching jab to combo into his light slash, making him combo from further. However, the Project League caught some wind of this and made his crouching strong and forward slow, making him feel like an idiot for even trying to counter poke with them. And to punish him even further, his elbows have a wider hitbox and lower pushback, making it easier for players to punish him. But don't worry, the V-skill that takes forever to finish now builds V-meter when used. So now you can build a little more V-meter when you're being hit by a sonic boom. It's a shame they keep on making Alex worse. I mean, the kid was already struggling against top tiers, but now you take what little advantage he has. But don't worry, it only took him till next season to buff him. Hey Beth, you sound different in person. What's up? Hey, it's just a microphone. Don't worry about it. Do you have my money? What money? You sent me an email asking if you can use my footage. I said yes, and I could star in the video, but for a price. Oh, I thought you meant like a shout out. What would you like? Let's start with the sandwich. I'm famished. Oh, okay then. I mean, you're my guest, so I guess I'll be right back. Anyways, so for Season 3, they graciously gave Alex an anti-air. His crouch fierce has no upper body hitboxes as well as his Lariat. However, it can trade sometimes. He ain't getting away with that easily. The team also made his medium heavy knee go further out. It's fairly reliable, like your old Uncle Rafael. Rafael? Sandstrong has less pushback. This allows for better combos, so if you're feeling brave, you can go for a command grab and reset. I'm glad to hear they didn't find the guy who buffed Alex, because the stand forward can't be snuffed out by lows anymore, which is something that only made sense, so I'm glad someone with the brain thought about it. The same guy gave a single frame advantage to his Lariat on hit, allowing a link to heavy punch after a immediate Lariat.
When the guy brought up the idea of Powerbomb strings doing different damage and stun, the big wigs at Capcom said yes, but had to nerf him a little, so he made his command grab whiff animation longer. The changes made Alex from a 6 out of 10 to a 6.1 out of 10. I mean, he's still usable, but he ain't winning evil or nothing. At this point of his lifetime, he still can't confirm combos from far away, Izaki sucks, and the majority of the top tiers can challenge his grabs. And between you and me, the only reason why his game got higher rank in the tier list is because the rest of the cast got a universal light punch anti-air nerf. Moving on, but let me tell you, I'm really hungry. Where's that sandwich? Season 3 also came out with the arcade version of Street Fighter V. I personally don't have anything to say about the port other than the entire cast got a second V-trigger you can choose when selecting a character. Alex's V-trigger 2 is called the Rage Boost. Capcom remembered that Third Strike exists and brought back some of Alex's classic grabs. I mean classic for your numbskull. I mean, who's a freak who likes DDT? The install is the same as V-trigger 1, so the combo routes are the same. When you press the VT buttons, Alex does a DDT. Same as Third Strike, it's unblockable and goes very far. It combos into pretty much the same thing as VT1, but it won't land on crouching or jump schmucks. So you gotta do a 4-stand combo in order to combo into it. This sucks for neutral because high school players would occasionally crouch to block lows. It can't even go through projectiles, so you're asking to be punished, but it ain't DDT if that doesn't happen. Using VT2 after chop, Alex will go into sleeper hold animation. Admittedly, it has good stun, good damage, and it knocks down. It won't combo from far range, but it's Alex. Of course they're not going to throw a bone. To mitigate this, you can use an EX chop. Basically, anytime you can combo a DDT, you can use chop if you want more stun. For Oki, you can get immediate lariat, which finally beats 3 frame normals. And let me say this right now, at this time this VT sucked. When we look at the benefits, it's not bad. It has decent Aki and easy to use combo routes. However, it's also a V trigger that uses up meter. Simply using the VT for DDT uses a quarter of your meter, Landing uses another. And if it wasn't bad enough, landing a sleeper hold might as well put you to sleep, because it uses half of the meter, and you might as well give up the match. VT1 is definitely more preferred. There are better options for damage and Aki. Not only that, but the parry also allows extra defense for Alex. So I don't know why this made it out of the testing chamber. Halfway through Season 3, we got a mid-season update. Alex is now forced to stand with the standing roundhouse. There's also this standing only combo, and resets. Crouching Fierce launches higher, and Heavy Knee moves a little more forward, making anti-airs more powerful and reliable. To add some sauce into this white boy's life, you can dive closer to the ground, and your dives launches opponents into the stratosphere, making Alex kinda saucy. Someone took a look at Tatsunoko vs Capcom and thought, it's a good idea to make his medium chop combo off his stand strong. And guess what? They were right. It does more damage and leads him closer to the opponent, and it also helps with his VT2 combos. Larry can finally cancel. With the hot hit, cancel, or meaty, you can combo into his heavy chop. It can, however, always combo into his heavy elbow. And with this, you can also catch suckers trying to V-reversal. EX Powerbomb is also 5 frame startup now. This beats mashers trying to escape on your tongue. One thing that's really important to know, that in this patch, Crush Canna across the board got a damage reduction. This, however, does not apply to Alex's hot hit. Let me say this right now, this patch really did help a boy Alex, and it's good to see him finally get some buffs, and I hope he doesn't get screwed over in the next update. Moving on to Season 4, I don't know what Capcom has against grapplers, but the past few seasons of Street Fighter V, they've been straight up bad, with Alex is no exception. But in Season 4, I think the guy who's been secretly buffing Alex got in more control of the process. Don't ask me how I know. As we can see in the previous seasons, Alex really suffered against air approaches. Now his standing Fierce has a hitbox above his head, making it a good anti-air. And for a grappler's purpose, catching people trying to jump away. Then guess what? Alex finally got some knee surgery, and now he's able to hit ground opponents with his EX knee, allowing him the better pressure compared to a move like Chop. Unfortunately, it's not strike invincible, and only projectile, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, just give the boy a DP for crying out loud. He hasn't fully recovered from his surgery yet, so his EX elbow is -4 in block, making it punishable. But you know what? He can combo his VT2 into his light and medium elbow slashes. This honestly helps him with damage and fireball counterplay. Mind you that you still need a move that forces Sand to combo this. If I may add, it also gives people options on how they want to approach different matchups, and how they want to play Alex. It's like choosing between SFIII and SFIII, optimal versus matchup specific. You're not gonna believe this though, Powerbomb also got a buff. I know, right? This mystery fella must have had a field day at the office. EX Powerbomb got a rage increase, about 2 block light punches away. And the backsword version got 20 more damage. And for the nerfs, nothing. Wait. He got a buff to his command grab and didn't lose an arm and a leg? Yeah, I think Capcom is changing their ways. I think there's gonna be hope. That or the person in charge is on vacation this season. But there's one huge buff that Alex got to his V skill. He's now able to cancel it into his EX chop, elbow, and stomp. This greatly increases his V meter gain and overall damage potential. But in this season, it may be an oversight. If you use this in the corner, you're -3, making this situation punishable. V skill 1's hard hit frame advantage was also changed. It does not only give a counter hit property, but also gives Alex 5 extra frames of advantage, while counter hit only gives him 2, which allows him to get some wacky combos, but the fact that he already got a buff to his command grab, who gives a VT? Get the pork, get a bone. To summarize the season, they finally added Alex to the game, and he's pretty amazing. He has a lot of options for his Aki and approach, which is something he struggled with throughout the seasons. And with the gradual buff to his anti-air game, he's been able to climb the ranks and be a threat to overall Street Fighter V meta. Speaking of amazing, this sandwich you made was pretty amazing. Good work, girl. Thank you. So, is that all you want for your payment? Nah, I think I'm gonna stay here for a while and do some recording for the videos. But it's nice in here. I might have to set up my own RAF studio. What the hell? I thought you're like a surgeon or something. Listen, don't ask questions. You want me to finish, right? We're almost done. Sure, I guess. Dude, this guy's weird. Halfway through season 4, we got a small update. But let me tell you, this small is relative. For Alex is imperative for the future. Let's start with the small things. He got a small buff to his mediums, which make him faster. This allows him to poke more efficiently and stops Russians. His lariat is now +8 on hit, which allows him to combo into heavy chop, enabling for more max damage combos. His heavy chop, however, is now -6, making it quote-unquote punishable. Intentional or not, you're able to go straight into a Powerbomb on block, which makes blocking a heavy chop a guessing game, with more of the commitment being on your opponent. One of the biggest changes to Alex, however, is the change to his V skill 1. It's 2 frames faster, builds double the meter, and Alex doesn't lose the effect if he takes damage. Before, if he did this VS cancel in the corner, you were punishable. Now, EX chop is 0, elbow is -1, and stomp is +9. But these aren't the only things Alex got on his update. He also got a new V skill. V skill 2 is called Overchain. It allows Alex to combo one special into another. Unlike V2-1, simply using the VS doesn't build V meter, and you can't cancel specials into it. But if you land the move on hit or block, it will build some meter for each special. But if you don't land a special, the ability goes away. Same thing if you get hit. This does not apply if you whiff specials though. You can't use this ability with Powerbomb or Head Crusher, and when you're using it, the special must be 2 different specials. And for elbow and stomp, you don't need a charge, you just need to do the button combination. These moves work on block. You can make unsafe moves safe. For example, chop into light slash, or elbow into EX chop. The EX moves can also go into the EX moves, but you can still spend the meter. This can be useful for true block strings in order to chip your opponents. Or you can use the EX elbow's armor to get more damage off of a punish. On reaction, you can cancel into the knee for Oki. This new V skill really allows Alex a lot of flexibility for matchups that he didn't have before. Not only that, but for the people who are a little more feisty, they can risk with VS2 trying to pressure their opponents. There's a lot to say about this V skill, and its potential with both VT1 for raw damage, and VT2 for set play. But good old Uncle Raph is running out of steam, so let's move on to the final season. Wait, why do you keep on saying Raph? I thought you were Baf, as in Bafael? Wait, hold on, sweetheart, I'm almost done. What the fuck is this, man? For the final season, I think the higher ups keep on Street Fighter V and let the crew do whatever they wanted with the game, and it shows. It seems like the secret Alex lover on the team got to do whatever he wanted. I know this because that secret Alex lover was me. Dude, what the fuck is going on? Stan Jab got a longer hitbox, which increases the distance to his combos, and it's +5, which enables Stan's shorter combos. Jab is also +3 on block, and with decreased pushbacks. This allows Alex to frame trap with Stam Strong. While the other suckers got the hurt box expanded, I was able to change it so Alex's stand forward retracted, making sure no lows hit him ever again. The next change was done to his crouching heavy punch. If only the second hit lands, then I'll do more damage than the previous patches. And if both hits land on his anti-air, you can land medium knee for better Aki. To complement this, we also allowed Alex to V-trigger the second hit of chop, which allows him to combo crouch fierce after the activation. This can also be used on block for some crazy chip sequences. EX Chop got a high launch which helps with his VT activation, but it also helps with Aki as well, being plus after 2 dashes, and combos into EX knee in the corner. It's now time to show off what I've been waiting for. Chop into Powerbomb has a dramatically increased range, and the EX version is +4 after dash instead of -4. All chops have increased ranges, with Light being able to combo after heavy elbow. This also increases his max damage combo. To continue this high train, Alex finally recovered from his knee surgery, with Heavy Knee being anti-air invincible from frame 7 and EX on frame 1. Heavy Knee also got its hitbox extended downwards, helping him with awkward angles. Stomp was one of my favorite moves for trolling beginners, so I made it -2 instead of -5, and I made it projectile invincible for shits and giggles. Unfortunately, this move can be punished with V-Shift. You might think these are great buffs for Alex, but we're not done yet, baby. VS2 is still enabled if Alex is knocked down, and you can cancel Head Crush into other specials. Unlike other moves, if you whiff Head Crush, your VS2 will go away because you gotta make it a little fair. We thought VT1 wasn't getting enough love, so we allowed specials and supers to be cancelled from a parry. We heard from some freaks that love DDT that they want to use it more, so we changed the inputs of VT2. You can use the standard heavies for DDT and down heavy for sleeper hold. We changed the DDT to be 3 frames faster and to cancel from his chops. Surprisingly, this increases VT2's damage and stun. Since both chops and slashes can be used as an anti-fireball tool, you have a lot of variety of options. To give the sleeper some love, we also made it cancelable from most of Alex's normals. We also chose not to let you do the sleeper hold raw and have it whiff at long distances. Finally, we made the Super Tala to help with his new VS2 combos. To tell you the truth, one day I decided to break into Capcom Studios so I could slowly buff Alex. As his neighbor, I saw him grow from a little boy to a fighter, so I thought it'd be nice to show him some love, where Capcom didn't. They didn't ask any questions at first, but as time went on, people thought I worked there. And when Capcom said, "Your team can go wild" with the last 2 updates, you know I had to do some crazy things for my boy. Whew. Now that that's all out of the way, I'm here to promote my website, RaphaelKnowsAll.org, where you let me stay at your house and I talk about any subject that you want. It's like a parasocial podcast.
If you're Raphael, where's Bafael?
Listen, for the last time, my name is Raphael. I told you already.
If you're not Paf, then why are you here? Why are you so knowledgeable on Alex?
I don't know who you're talking about, sweetheart. I told you, I'm here to loiter a little and talk about whatever subject you want to hear about. When I'm away here from Boston, I watched a few videos of Alex and memorized them. I found all of this information on a channel called Bafael. You should check him out too, you might like him.
What the fuck? Why? What is going on here? I'm so confused.
Oops, that's my cue to leave. I'll see you later, sweetheart. Good luck on the video. And I'll email you the bill for the flights to the Ubers from the airport.
Oh my god, he took everything. All I have left is Star Strike and my PC. Like, how the fuck did he even take my Steam games? And now I can't talk about anything else. Wait, what's this? A secret 8th game? 4th Strike, huh? Huh. This is a chapter we've all been waiting for. The secret game Alex has appeared in. Before we talk about Alex in this game, what is 4th Strike? 4th Strike is a mod for 3rd Strike on Fightcade. Created by Zeesensen. I don't really know how to pronounce the name. The goal with the mod is to change the entire cast of 3rd Strike to either balance the game in a more fair way or to add more spice to some characters. This includes adding target combos or special moves, changing moves altogether, and going as far as making combos and moves work properly. Not only does this mod change how the characters function, but they also added some new ones too, namely Gil and Sean as playable characters. We can talk about the project as a whole in another video, and I would love to talk about it, and the crew, so if you're interested in that video, please comment down below. Actually, like, I don't know if I want to do the video, like, maybe you guys want to hear that video, but like, I heard about some crazy shit about the creator. I don't know if it's ethical to talk about the creator, but I'm definitely down to, like, talk about the game itself. So if you want to hear more about that, comment down below. Now on to Alex and the changes that they made. Man, let me tell you, Alex is really fucking cool in this mod. Not only does he feel like more of a rushdown character, but he has some really interesting mechanics. Let's talk about his normals, the properties, and UTCs. The creator speaks Japanese, so their notes are in the native language. But I found a document that translates all the notes to English, and I'm going to read it off of them, with commentary where I think I have something to add.
If you want to read all the notes for yourself, they're going to be in the description down below. Shout out to KMBO for translating everything. Far standing light punch can now only be parried forward. Crouching medium punch, pushback on block decrease, now changes to crouching heavy kick. Standing heavy punch, now knocks down a hit. I personally wish they kept this the same. Crouching heavy punch, Alex no longer suffers crouching damage bonus when hit during the second hit of the move. I honestly didn't even know this happened in the original game. Far standing medium kick, damage decreased from 20 to 23. Crouching medium kick, damage decreased from 12 to 15. Stand heavy kick, started decrease from 16 to 14. This honestly helps with his max damage combos. Crouching heavy kick started to decrease from 11 to 9 frames. Chop, which is forward medium punch, now has heavy attack priority and traits. Headbutt, no longer whiffs on crouching opponents, is now -6 on block from 11. This honestly helps with this high-low mix-up game. Sleeper hold, damage increased from 10 to 12. Knockback on hit to reduce, recovery increased by 2 frames. Now combo into boomerang raid. This honestly helps with this Oki, and since you're so close to the opponent, you can go in for a close medium kick. And if it hits, you can combo into anything you want. Cross chop. Command change when jumping 2 HP to 3 HP. Alex now only rolls once after landing, when the move is blocked or parried. Target combo 1 increase input window. Target combo 2 is now removed. Flash chop, all versions. Hitbox expanded, so it hits crouching opponents more consistently. Flash chop, medium punch version. Now works identically to the old heavy version. Damage increased from 26 to 28. Stun damage increased from 9 to 15. Recovery reduced from 19 to 17 frames. Hit stop increased from 10 frames to 12 frames. Super cancel window increased by 2 frames. Flash chop, heavy version. Reworked into flash combo chop. A Rekka series with new follow-ups. 1 Rekka is a short dash chop. 2 Rekka is hammer punch. 3 Rekka is headbutt. First circle forward and then back is back throw. This is honestly such a cool idea for a move. I never really thought about Alex as a Rekka character, but something about this move in particular just makes sense. Plus with the little hop he does, it allows Alex to get into opponents without having to commit to a full dash. I mean, the best thing about this move is that you're able to choose whether to side switch or not. Air knee smash. The normal version can now be teched, and can no longer be parried. This is like cool as hell. I wonder how it works out the parry if your opponent can actually tech it after they get parried. Air knee smash EX version. No longer builds meter on hit. Damage increased from 30 to 38. Flash elbow medium version. Block advantage increased from -8 to -3. Flash elbow heavy version. Block advantage increased from -8 to -4. Powerbomb medium and heavy version. Alex performs a now short, low invisible jump before the grab. All versions now deal 48 damage on back hit. Powerbomb EX version. Added 5 frame startup, 5 frame strike invulnerability, and opponents cannot quick stand. Deals 46 damage. 51 on back hit. The little hop is like kind of weird, but I kind of like it. Spiral DDT. Change to an air to ground throw. I perform from a jump but only will connect on grounded opponents. Line of recovery reduced from 8 frames to 5 frames. Now recovers in 4 frames on successful throw. DDT, my beloved. Why? Why do they hate you so much? SFIII Powerbomb. Startup decreased from 2 frames to 1 frame. Active window increased from 2 frames to 3 frames. SFIII Powerbomb raid. Knockdown on middle hits reduced to prevent opponents from falling out. SFIII Stun Gun Headbutt. Meter changed from 80 points 1 stock to 64 points 2 stock. Deals reduced stun damage. Alex would leave further when the move is input 2 buttons. Max SFIII Stun Gun Headbutt. Costs 2 bars. Mid-range rush SA that starts with elbow slash, that then combos into super, 5 frame startup, 7 frame active, 13 frames on block, knockdown on hit. I said this before and I will say it again. Alex is really cool in this game. There are a lot of changes that happen with Alex, but I still feel like, at a glance, Alex still had the same rushdown DNA that he has always had. There are some changes that I think he needed, like his frame data, but there are some changes I never would have thought about, like his Super 3, some of his TCs, and heavy chop. I am sad, however, that DDT is gone. I will forever miss you, my wife, DDT. Overall, I think this might be my favorite iteration of Alex so far. Despite not having a lot of experience with 4-strike, I plan on doing some living on stream this upcoming week, so if that sounds interesting to you, come on by. Moving on to the next game, I want to make 2 quick shoutouts. The first is the 4th Assault team. The project lead, Master T KOF, on Twitter is in charge of the 8-person team who are working on this mod. 4th Assault is also a 3rd Strike mod that rebalances the roster and adds new characters. Right now, they're working on adding Sakura to the game, while 3rd Strike uses hand-drawn animation. The 4th Assault team uses 3D animation and draw sprites over them to create fluid animations. I spoke to the project lead and this is what they had to say about the project. We have an 8-person team working on it, and also it will need a lot of development. We don't have so much material for a gameplay video, but this year we have some Kami, Sakura, Bison, Zangief news with short videos. If you want to check them out and support them, please do. Links to Master T's Twitter will be in the description below. Once again, thank you Robbie Ratnest for letting me know about this project. We're finally at the final chapter, and this is just me talking about my Alex wishlist. Originally, this was just going to be its own video where I talk about some of Alex's history and talk about some of the moves from his past games, but not really talk about them. I didn't really want to go too in depth before, but I thought it was kind of a disservice to not only you, but Alex as well. So that's why I decided to make this unbelievably long video leading up to this very moment where we talk about his theoretical moveset, Street Fighter 6. Before we do, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and comment. And if you want to subscribe, don't just yet. Go watch 3 of my other videos before you do. It helps you gauge whether or not you actually would want to watch my videos. And one last thing, shout out to everyone who has helped me with this project. My friends, the people on the Third Strike and Alex Discord server, and to everyone who I messaged and messaged me back. I greatly appreciate you all, and I could not have done this project without any of you. And without further ado, onto my Alex wishlist. First of all, I want Alex's Third Strike light kick color to be in this game. I love the white with the darker skin color. You know, I gotta represent that melanin. And now talk about the theoretical normals. So I'd like Alex's jab to be exactly like Third Strike. Same thing for Strong. And his fear should obviously be an overhead, but I think it's hard to choose between his Third Strike and 5 appearance. But I think I prefer his Third Strike version. This move should also be rage cancelable, but I'll talk about that later. Obviously his close, light, medium, heavy kick should stay the same, with light and medium being special move cancelable. Light punch I think should just be a low. I would personally like it if it was mashable, but having very little range. Kind of like Kami, but if it's not, then Third Strike is fine. Obviously this is special move cancelable. And for his crouching medium punch, it should only be rage cancelable. I would like to see crouching heavy punch stay the same, but maybe have his special move cancelable. But if it is special move cancelable, I think the follow should have major scaling or limited combo options. Unless you have rage. Crouching light kick should stay the same. Crouching medium kick should be rage cancelable, and heavy kick stays the same as it always has. For air normals, I think I would rather have Alex's air normals from Third Strike, and for his command normals, okay, so this died in Street Fighter 4, but I would really like close and 4 normals to come back. I honestly just really like the options between close and 4 normals, but I honestly just want more animation. If they won't come back, I would like to have forward medium kick, rage cancelable, to be his far medium kick from Third Strike. For light punch is his far light punch. For more command normals, Chop obviously needs to come back, but maybe have a fast and charge version. The fast version would work as more of an anti-air like Third Strike, but be -3 on grounded hits. And the charge version would be an overhead, but with hella startup. It'd be kind of funny if you land on air opponents, they like bounce or something. But Lariat, I want Street Fighter 5 Lariat. This one needs to hit mid and lead into itself on crush counter, and consistently into medium punch on raw. Obviously this would be like a good anti-air, would do like a spinning animation on counter hit, and on crush counter like on DPs, you can consistently get a dive after it. Speaking of, dive should also be in this game with it launching pretty high and resets juggle potential on rage activation. If it hits grounded opponents, just like Street Fighter 5, you can consistently go into medium punch. On the crouch counter though, I think opponent should be in the short dizzy animation, just like Tatsunoko vs Capcom. We gotta have back heavy punch in the game. Obviously, how could we not? On punish counter though, I think there should be 2 headbutts, with the second headbutt knocking down. I think he should keep his crouching light kick into medium kick TC from Third Strike, and his crouching medium punch into crouching heavy kick TC from Fourth Strike. Okay, now for the specials. I think light chop should stay how it is, with it leaving Alex plus on hit and punishable block. And let's keep it safe as space right. Medium, however, I think should be +1 or +2 on block, with it obviously taking a longer time to start, and even more so for the heavy version. However, for all 3, I think you should be able to charge it with it being unblockable, like in TVC. The X version should be something similar to Street Fighter 5. His next special is elbows. They should act like his Street Fighter 5 version, with it being punishable on block, advantageous on hit. But I think I would like a special command for heavy. Also, the EX version of these moves would have 1 hit armor. I think on hit, I'd like to allow heavy to have 2 follow-ups. The first is a drop kick. When it hits, you send your opponent flying. When you land, you can input forward twice. If you have the correct timing, you get up and you start running towards your opponent. With different inputs, you'll do the following. The first is stop with light punch. The second is medium punch. This is a close line, with similar animations to VT1 from Street Fighter 5. That is plus on block and minus on hit. And the heavy punch version is a fucking RKO command grab. I like the RKO, what can I say? Light kick is a stop like light punch, but you also jump back. Medium kick is a spinning back kick that combos into a forward kick, with another press of the button. Both are punishable in block. And heavy kick is an overhead body slam. If you can't tell, I wasn't a part of the main in Street Fighter 4. So if he can't come back in Street Fighter 5 or 6, then I'm gonna live vicariously through Alex. But that was just the first follow-up. The second follow-up is called Store Your Rage, which we shall get into later. Alex's third special was the run that we just talked about, with all the follow-ups being available. I didn't think of a name for this move, so we'll just call it Bulls on Parade. This is not special move cancelable on block, but it is on hit. The EX version has one hit of super armor, and any of the EX follow-ups can go into Store Your Rage. The fourth special is Stomp. It hasn't really changed much from Street Fighter 5, but on punish counter it has off-the-ground properties to do more damage. The fifth special was his Head Crusher. Just like Stomp, the move is not changed too much. But on punish counter, you're allowed a medium punch follow-up with high scaling, and EX doing 2 hits and a knockdown. The final special move we can talk about is Prepare Your Rage. This move allows one hit of super armor that doesn't recover health, instead adds half a permanent tick to Store Your Rage. Now moving on to his supers, Super 1 is his S. You fucking idiot. You think I gave up? You thought I would forget about DDT, my beloved. I would never forget about you. I could never. Okay, so DDT is gonna stay the same. I love how shitty the move is, with EX doing a little more damage. And on EX punish counter, Alex is an animation where Alex and the opponent falls on the ground, then Alex gets up and does an elbow drop. Alternatively, you can use Prepare Your Rage, where you're minus after the animation. I would also like if Alex kept the air version from Fourth Strike, but maybe he just throws the opponent to the wall, just like Armikun from Street Fighter 5, with it obviously not doing any damage. If the opponent hits the wall, it bounces them back, obviously with extra scaling. Powerbomb with this move does a clothesline attack. Alex command grabs and knees are all the same as well. I think it's kind of interesting that Fourth Strike allows you to like tech the knee, so I think I would want that to be in the game. I think Alex's like ground game right now is really strong, so I think his anti-air game should be like kind of weak to like alright. Okay, finally actually going to his supers. Alex's Super 1 is his SA2 from Third Strike, with it still side switching. And now here's the really big thing. Alex's Super 2 is Rage Control. In Rage Control, Alex's normals gain certain properties and his special changes. But remember Store Your Rage? Every time you use a move with super armor and you gain gray health, Store Your Rage turns your gray health red. This red health does not heal, and this continues through each round. And when you finally activate Super 2, Rage Control, you go into Rage Burst, where you cash in on the red health for more damage. For his moves, they all get 10, 15, 20, and 25% more damage, depending on how much you sacrifice, maxing out at 50% when you sacrifice around 60% of your health. Each one of your moves has 2 extra frames of advantage for the first 2 hits of the combo. Now for his specials, for Alex's chops, I would want him to have a Rekka follow-up like in Fourth Strike. They can still charge it. For elbow, I would like if Alex can chain into one of his specials, like VS2, with major scaling on the moves obviously. It would function more as a tool for Oki. For your run, there's one added move. With back heavy kick, you can finally drop kick. If the kick connects, it wall bounces. When it does, you're able to do your double forward or back in order to do the command follow-ups. For stomp, on hit, the animation changes. The initial first stomp happens, and Alex does a curb stomp. EX has a ground bounce that can combo into crouching heavy punch and medium punch into knee. As a side note, if you guys think that this is all crazy, I don't want to hear shit because you got some major shit with like Bison, alright? Head Crush does the same damage, and EX does the same animation SA3, with it also leave the opponent stunned. The duration of the stun is the same as Jamie's EX command grab. And finally DDT, I think should have an animation where Alex gets up and does a body slam after the DDT lands. Super 3 is like Super 1 from Third Strike, with a backwards variation as well. And Critical Arch is basically the full SA3 from Fourth Strike. There are more things I can probably talk about, but this is all I have for now, as far as my dream Alex moveset. I think Alex, for the most part, has gotten the short end of the stick, and I would just love to see him as like a potential top tier. I also thought a lot about Alex's story in the creation of these moves. I think since Gil saw a lot of potential in Alex, I think it'd be cool if Alex can push past his limits and control the rage that he's been storing for all of these years and refine it into something good. And the person who taught him how to do that? Tom and Ryu. If Ken is mentoring Sean in his fighting style, then Ryu is mentoring Alex in his rage control. Since Ryu had to fight the Satsumi no Hara by himself, he can't help but mentor someone in a similar situation that he was in. Hence why he has become Alex's master. Alex's goal at this point is to find more about his origins and why he has these powers, and is looking for answers to Bison, JP, Rashid, Q, and G. And throughout his travels, he learned new moves from characters like El Fuerte, Armika, E Honda. I think it'd be really cool if Alex grew from not just like some kid from New York, but like a world warrior, you know what I mean? But you know, this is all just a wish list, and Capcom has most likely like already finished Alex. But I want to hear what you guys have to say about my ideas. Are they outlandish, Obviously they are. But I want to see like how much more refined can this system get? What ideas do you have for Alex? Do you like my rage system? Do you not like it? I want to hear all your thoughts down below. So please go ahead and just go wild. Time for my closing thoughts. That was a long video. Thank you all for watching. I greatly appreciate those who made it to the end. This has been my biggest project yet, and as of the time of recording, it kind of sucks that it's late, but it's okay because I finished regardless. I want to give a huge shout out to a list of people who have helped me work on this project. Bafael, Powerbomb, riiya, SFIII, Master T, and the PlayStation DECOMP team, the Alex Discord, and everyone featured in this video. I seriously cannot do any of this without you. But super big shout out to @DarkJF6CL, because I ruined your week and I'm sorry about that, buddy. This video is dedicated to you and to you only. I honestly don't have much else to say since I've already set them in my announcements. If you didn't skip it, then like you don't have anything else to worry about. You didn't skip it, right? Like you like listened to everything I had to say? Because like you're just like a good person, right? Right? But if you did, don't worry, here's the Sparkles version. I reached over 500 subscribers, so the next video is going to be a 500 subscriber Q&A special. So get your comments in the questions below and in my community post. Videos will be regularly uploaded at least once a week, and there will be community polls to vote which day is preferred by you guys. And for the time being, there will be at least one Who is Alex video per month until the series is over, so stay tuned for next month. One last announcement is I will start streaming regularly on Fridays at 2 PM PST, so come stop by. Okay, that's all. My body and mind says not to do this ever again, but we all know I can't help but make these big ass projects like this, so stay tuned for another video. See y'all later. Bye.